thing works here, y'all. What's good? Anybody in the building, let me know you're in the building. What's up? Trying something here just to see if this will work. Welcome, welcome. You welcome to you're now on. I'll say welcome aboard to Southwest South Sentinel West Airlines. And yeah, this is your pilot, Captain Wolfgang Amadeus. And I'm gonna take you on a flight. I'm gonna take you on a trip. I'm gonna take you on a trip. I'm just trying something out here, just testing to see how this will work. Welcome everybody, and anybody who's been a fan, been a supporter. I appreciate everybody who comes on here. Welcome, Grand Rising. And we don't say good morning here because we already know, hey, Nick Mountain Go, what's up? Yeah, get your boarding pass. I'm gonna get into a couple of things regarding the topic. Yes, yes, yes. Now, before I go there, though, I just wanted to say, yeah, thank you to everyone who has become a member here. Well, no, I don't have members here because I don't have the members here yet. But I've already set up my Patreon, which I should have done long time ago. So right now, I'm still in the midst of getting the channel back, so I'll be working on that, and I will be doing a lot more on Patreon. Man, I got just basic stuff that I got going on for Patreon as far as, you know, I probably won't even do members on YouTube because where I'm going to take the Patreon is just going to go somewhere totally different. We'll just start off number one with a West Side. That's the entry level. Just members. You still get a lot of perks and stuff like that, but the supporters group, the supporters tier, it has the early access to certain episodes, your shout outs, and I'm gonna shoot y'all the Patreon posts exclusively only on Patreon posts. Then I have my other tier that's uncut, unfiltered, where I'm dropping documentaries. I got a documentary I am putting together on Chris Dorner. For those who don't know who Chris Dorner is, all I gotta really say is Google that guy. What's up, Auntie Lee? Appreciate you. Really, really research Chris Dorner. Just like how I produced the Damori Hadley story, I'm gonna produce a three-parter, four-parter series on Chris Dorner. Just look him up. That's all I really got to say. This guy went around LA some years back and terrorized the heck out of LA PD. And I said, yeah, let me go ahead. I got all this footage. I got his manifesto. I got some stuff. I'm going to talk to a few people. And I think a lot of people need to really know who he is. And I'm just going to just touch up on it. YouTube definitely wouldn't allow this to be out there, but I'm gonna put it out there, and that'll mainly be on the Patreon, just the supporter level. I mean, actually the uncut and unfiltered level. Then I got the Deep West Intel level, where we'll talk about stuff like this that I'm gonna talk about right here, just as far as what's going on with the TSA and their shoe removal program. You said you only know Chris Joyner, yeah. Chris Joyner. I don't know who Chris Joyner is. Yeah, look him up, Nick. I'm telling you, Nick, this Chris Dorner situation and the media, they do not want Chris that they don't want, like, man, it's heavy. It's heavy. But I'm gonna do a little deep dive on that. But I'm gonna put that, specifically on Patreon simply because I already know um YouTube is pretty much let me know they've been monitoring, watching. They're not going to promote. It's not a fair level when it comes to what's going on with this YouTube stuff. So, we got to do what we got to do to break through. So certain stories, certain topics are not going to, they're going to be frowned upon. So I'm doing that mainly on the Patreon. I also got a documentary I'm putting together on the riots, the LA riots from 92. I'll do a comparison. I'll talk about the Watts riots in the 60s. I'll do the 92 riot because I have footage of the 92 riots in LA. But I'm going to mainly talk about a few things that were happening that people are not really paying attention to. The fires that were going on in LA at the time and who were setting them. There's also some stuff I'm going to talk about where the Koreans were on top of the Slauson swap meet. They didn't have real guns. It's a lot. It's a lot. But that will be on Patreon. So I didn't want to go just into a diatribe about that. But man, I got a whole lot that I just want to give. And I don't think it's worthy to just put it on YouTube like that. Nonetheless, the situation now that I just wanted to touch on just to see if this topic will work. I'm working out things that will play great for this channel in the algorithm. So how I'm looking at this right now, there's a TSA shoe removal rule that's being taken away. TSA, and for those who don't know, if you're in the United States, that's the company that pretty much is, it's an agency that's over the airport security. They've always had you take off your shoes. If you don't have pre-check, fortunately, I mean, I got pre-check. I started really traveling. I really thank you, Auntie Leah, for dropping that right there. Appreciate you. But I started really traveling not too long ago, and I said, let me get into the mix. And if I'm gonna really travel, I need pre-check. And I don't like taking off my shoes. I don't like going through that machine because I know what's up with that machine. I'm gonna tell y'all what's really up with that machine. Do we really want to go there though? That machine you got to walk through in the airport, and the cameras spin around you, the X-ray spin around you. They tell you to put your hands up. Um, one time I went through the damn machine. Um, because I mean I had pre-check, but this time I had a client who paid for my ticket and didn't do everything correct. Didn't have my name right. Didn't have none. So I had to go through the regular TSA, just that line. Number one, it takes forever. It's annoying. I don't like people touching on me. Man, don't touch on me like that. I always go through with just like sweatpants and just to make it easy. I ain't gonna take no belt off or nothing like that. But yeah, they had me go through it, and they're like, "Oh, you got something on you." I'm like, "I ain't got shit on me. What y'all talking about?" That whole machine thing, and I looked behind like so. I'm gonna tell you this: they looking at everything. They are looking at everything in that X-ray machine, right? What they do is not only just the biometrics of it all, they are looking for internal organs, if you got anything smuggled in, if you got like um if are y'all familiar with the Tide Pods? If you're familiar with Tide Pods, um essentially those are pretty big. Tide Pods are pretty big, but a lot of people were ingesting DURGSs in like little caplets like that, and going through the airport, and then when they get to their destination, they do what they need to do, or they'll do it on the airplane or whatever. Like they'll get rid of the contents that they took in through in an airport. Like that's what those machines are for. I noticed they're talking about I had something on me, and the 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 freaking highlighted part that was they were telling us the TSA's people to search was the midsection. I'm like, man, y'all better leave. You better not. Y'all better chill out. That's one thing, man. I swear to God, the last person that touched me on the airport was some moist dude, and I was disgusted. I felt violated. But that's just me. I don't like being touched like that. So that's why I do pre-check. That's the long and short of why I do pre-check. But I'm letting you know they are checking everything in when you're going through pre-check, right? They look, people they've done like I don't want to get into too much of a conspiracy theory, but I am going to get into some conspiracy theory stuff with this. They're individuals who I remember before 9/11. They would do a lot of traveling, and they were basically smuggling stuff straight up. Like I knew of them. I didn't know them like that. I knew them. I know this one woman who had these implants, and y'all can just figure it out from there. Even the BBLs and all that, like are things being smuggled? Because of the BBL stuff. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. I don't want to get into the whole like, well, why are so many people going to certain parts of the world getting stuff smuggled? Like they're, the BBLs, all that good. I mean, I don't want to go there. I don't. But I know when you go through the TSA screening, they are looking for everything. They're searching everything, internal organs, all that good stuff. So now all of a sudden they want it in the shoe removal. I believe this is just a symbolic way to shift from the psychological conditioning of you going through the airport and being terrorized because you're essentially going through the airport and you're being terrorized. The original shoe rule was a form of submission training. You get the public used to compliance and humiliation, barefoot in public. Now that mass compliance is normalized, the rule is no longer needed. I remember when after 9/11, that shoe rule came into effect. There was is it Richard Reed or Timothy Reed? What was the guy? Who was the shoe bomber guy? Um, it happened right after 9/11. There was a guy who went through the airport uh, and he basically, Richard Reed. I was on it. And guy looked crazy as cat shit, right? Um, Richard Reed, Richard Colvin Reed. Yep, went through the airport. That's right, Nick. He went through the airport, got on the plane, and tried to, you know, he had some Reebok pumps. That's basically what he had. He had some Reebok pumps, and he tried to blow that old thing out the sky. They tackled him down or whatever. But this happened um, in '01, like right after 9/11. I remember that. I remember that. And yeah, he basically is he still in jail right now? I wouldn't be surprised if he isn't in jail right now. But yeah, I remember when he did that, and I was just like, oh, so the shoe ruling thing, uh, was really the thing that happened that happened after that or whatever, right? I mean, yeah, I think no, he's not out of jail. He got 3 life sentences, so he couldn't have been out of jail. Anyway, I'm under the impression though that they've been doing this to humiliate the public, walking barefoot in public. It was also something where they were collecting data. The government already used the rule, the shoe removal rule. Um, they were basically harvesting energy. I mean, I'm sorry, harvesting information, foot biometrics via surveillance and AI recognition, right? Now that AI can identify your walking pattern, they don't need your shoes off anymore. And I believe it's done now to create a false sense of freedom, right? Easing one rule gives the illusion that freedoms are being restored, distracting from harsher surveillance elsewhere, like quiet skies, predictive pol- uh, policing, and pre-crime watch lists. So they're removing the rule because it's essentially to create an illusion that they're giving us a freedom. They're giving us this. We don't have to take our shoes off anymore. When you walk in the airport, let me give y'all a secret. If you have a passport, if you have a real ID, it has it has information. It has RFID chipping in it. So when you walk through an airport, they already knew. They know you're there. Any government building, and I know this because I know some people that work in the government. I also work in tech. I know there's a lot. Yeah, they already know you're there. If you walk to a federal building and your passport is near you, they know who you are. They already know. Most people are coming in with phones. Your phone pretty much is a piece of, I'll just say it's a piece of information that they will use to track and identify you. Your ID and your passport is another one. So here we go with the shoes. Now, say it could be taken off. It's just another false sense of freedom. And there's other surveillance measures going on. That's why I mentioned that. There's other surveillance measures going on. It's also I'm under the impression that it's an influence, economic influence from shoe brands like Nike, Reebok. I just mentioned Reebok, Adidas, corporate lobbying from those companies and others may have pushed the rule because TSA lines discourage people from wearing their like premium shoes and hard to remove footwear, right? So, you may not want to take your Jordans off and get them scuffed up. You know what I'm saying? The shoe heads, the sneaker heads, they know what I'm talking about. So that might be a reason why. You know what I'm saying? And just the psychological optics. We got a post-pandemic travel hesitancy. You got civil unrest. It made the government want to appear to be more reasonable to avoid tipping people into a full rebellion. But that ain't stopped the surveillance. It just becomes more invisible. You get what I'm saying? So what it is they're trying to ease people's like I'm gonna tell you one thing. I was paying attention to what's going on with this uh, Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Pam Bondi or whatever her name is. She said she was looking at the list, and then now the government comes out and say, "Oh, there is no list." And then after that, the Epstein lawyer came out and, "Oh yeah, there is a list, and Bill Clinton, Bill Gates is on it. Something's up. Something is up. I don't think y'all really know what this really is, but there's people in the backdrop that they know what's up. They're still protecting and covering for certain people. That's all I got to say. But yeah, they will do things like this to ease the people's tension. To say, oh well, yeah, you could go through the airport now. You ain't gotta have your shoes. You keep your shoes on. Just don't. They scared of the retribution. They scared of riots and looting. You know. Yeah, there you go, Luna. Massive gaslighting for real. That's just what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? But see, this is why I'm doing this topic because all I'm trying to do really for the most part is raise the consciousness of, the people. And this YouTube essentially doesn't want that. That's what they don't want. So if you're really about just and I'm not on that whole, they bastardize that word woke. I've never been woke. But I'm not on that woke content. I'll say I'm just on real life reality. And sometimes other people's perspectives, you can grow and learn from them. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing with the Patreon, and that's why I'm setting up everything over there is because I'll get a little more deeper, and I don't get too into the conspiracy theory side of the game and stuff. But I say I always said conspiracy theory or reality madness, right? The CIA came up with that term conspiracy theorists. I came up with the term reality madness because it's the flip side of a conspiracy theorist. A theory And a conspiracy is, you know, something they came up with it right after JFK was assassinated. And now that we came out, now that they released the files and they you everybody knows what really happened now for the most part. So at the time it was, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. Now they're like, no, the reality of it was madness. The reality of it was crazy. Imagine if everybody knew what was popping back then. Oh man, it'll be this country, and that's what they're afraid of. That's what you got to think, man. The government is more afraid of people getting the right information and tearing their ass up. That's what they're afraid of, and that's the only thing holding the NWO up is the people, because the people will in this country they want to get rid of the Constitution, all that or whatever. Because see, that's why I say I don't want to get too deep. That's why we got to get over and talk about it over there on the patreon.com/set in the west. But I don't want to get too deep into it. But again, they meaning the government, they want to appear more reasonable to avoid tipping people into full rebellion. So that's just psychological optics for the shoe situation, the shoe removal. Now, another one is a soft launch of a global digital ID travel system. This is what I'm also pondering that, they have you remove your shoe, and it's a bigger plan ahead to usher in the digital passport and a biometric only travel, less physical screening. Now, just more of a digital profile later. So right now, you don't have to take off your shoes. You don't have to do this. It's less physical screening now, but they'll have a more of a digital profile later. Just like I said, you could walk into the airport right now. They really don't need to do any type of it. Back in the day, you didn't need no security. You just walk to the airport, go to your flight. That was it. They really don't need that. They have it to the point to where your passport it has an RFID chip in there. It's already it lets the airport know you're there, and they know who you are. All they got to do is they'll monitor you, and you just walk to the airport. That's it. They'll know what's on you because they already got the system set up to know what you got on you. That's what I'm under the impression of. Just like, here's another thing: the situation going on with the people going into stores. And let's say if you ever been to Target, if you've went in there and racked, well, we used to call it racking, right? Back in the day, stealing, right? And in LA County, Gascon, the DA at the time, he said, if it's under $1,000, it's not, we're not prosecuting, we're not tripping. So a lot of people went into these stores. Not gonna say a lot of people, I'll say a lot of low-level criminals went into the store and were just stealing, putting stuff in their underpants, whatever. They got surveillance to see who did what. They have facial recognition to know who did what too. They know that. So now there's a new DA, and he's like, oh, no. We not letting up. If you stole, guess what? We coming after you. And guess what? They can literally come after you. If you have a TikTok, if you have a Facebook, if you have a YouTube, if you have any type of social media where your name or your face is connected to it, they can run it through that algorithm. They can run it through the DMV's algorithm because your face is there. They can find out who you are. They could, come and get you if they really want to. Don't get it twisted, y'all. Yeah, of course y'all got it's buffering because, But anyway, yeah, like I say all that to say the future in my head, I always think ahead. These people think ahead too. 50 years down the line, going into a store, picking out your items, putting it in a basket, going to a cashier is going to be the thing of the past because you'll just, it's too cumbersome, it's too time consuming. Just go in the store, get what you want, walk out. They will already charge you when you walk out. I've done that at the crypto center. Went in there, took my son to a game. I said, what you want? He went in there, grabbed something. I went and we just walked out there. And I already tapped the little debit card, credit card, and they charged me. And they charged a hell amount, but they charged you already. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way systems will be in the future. Essentially, just your digital profile, and you could just walk in and do what you need to do. Walk into an airport, you could get a ticket or whatever. That's it's not, a lot of things are not going to change, but I think just the way they're going through the whole pat down process, that's going to change. But most importantly, I think the main thing for this situation is to gauge the public's reaction before a bigger shift. So this is just to see how the public reacts and reacts to restored liberties, quote unquote liberties. And this is a setup before introducing a new security event that, quote unquote, requires even more invasive tech under the guise of convenience. Yeah, man, I'm going there. I don't. I know a lot of people on here, you know, depending on who you listen to or who talk to, or get your information from, get your news from. All I'm saying is be more of a critical thinker when it comes to this. Now they're saying that they're going to also not make it to where you take your laptop out and you got to put it in one basket. You take your other laptop and your tablet, like the MacBook. You like, because I have a lot of devices. I'll go to the airport. I produce, so I got devices. I got cameras. So you got to put all that in a separate container. It's now the convenience is, well, yeah, you don't have to do all that. Man, yeah, they're conning us. They're running game. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, man, um, this has been another episode, and this is Setting West Airlines. We're about to land, and we about to land in the beautiful city of LA, and just get ready. You could put your seatbelt on and get ready for this landing. That's pretty much where we're at with it. Again, I was just testing this out to see how this format will work like this, because y'all will see me come on and I'll drop a little something every now and then. But for the most part, I am sticking to producing these pods. I hope y'all been checking out the podcasts that Jaguar Wright and I have been producing. It's called All on Front Street. And if you haven't checked out, just check it out. I think a lot of people love it, and it's on iHeart, it's on Deezer, it's on Apple Podcasts, it's everywhere. You get iHeart Media, Spreaker, all that. Deezer, what did I say? I said that already. Anywhere you get pods, you could check out and just search All on Front Street podcast. I'm still producing for Jaguar Wright Uncensored. Check that out. And of course, my pod, Wolf Tickets Radio. But I'm gonna be dropping a lot more on the Patreon. So even if you just become a free member, I'll appreciate that. Um, I'll do a lot more Q&As over there too. So if you got any questions, let's do it over there. Let's talk. I'm making that more of a community. And again, this is not woke. This is not conscious. This is just raising. I'll say this is awareness, raising the consciousness of the people. I got a whole lot of plans, but I can't do it all on my own. And I know a lot of people, they're looking for a real support team too. So I'm trying to put that together as well. Let's really put the people who are really trying to put some action behind this movement on it. You get what I'm saying? What's up, Kat? Let me see who's all in here. Kat, again, appreciate you, Auntie Leah. Let me know when you're going live, because I definitely need to chime in on the topic that you had before with Pac and all that, and Matulu. Again, I gotta. I'm gonna see if I could get a hold of a few people, because I find it interesting as well with young Noble passing, and um, man, yeah, it's just sad. It's sad, but yeah, you're doing your thing over there, Auntie Leah. Nick's Mountain Goat and Luna, Kiki Eyes, what's up? Appreciate you. Jay Mizak, of course, is always in the bell. I don't know if he's here now, but I appreciate anybody that done came through. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty much getting up out of here. I may be on later with Jaguar think we've got some other good things coming. But again, like, share, subscribe. I'm just doing what I'm doing over here on the YouTube side of the game. But the patreon.com/settingthewest is going to be popping as soon as I get a couple of I already got, I think one member came free. Appreciate that. Free members is always appreciative. I start getting the paid members. I start dropping more of the documentary stuff over there. Chris Dorner doc and the LA riots 35 years later doc coming. That's going to be there. I'll put the Demore Hadley stuff. I'll put some more behind the scenes stuff because I'm hesitant about putting more about the Demore Hadley stuff out there because Nicki Minaj shared that link to her 225 million subs on Instagram and Twitter. And YouTube shadow banned it like a mug. It only gained 45K views, and that's crazy. It ain't going nowhere since. I said, wow, the collusion is real behind the scenes. I'm ready to get in their ass. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. I'm ready to get in their ass, and they know. They know. I'm good at what I do. So, long story short, appreciate all of the support. That's why I truly appreciate y'all. Anybody, if you're listening right now, I truly appreciate you. And just let's keep it up. Let's keep doing what we're doing. You have a beautiful day. You have a great day. If you are feeling down, if you're feeling depressed, it's nothing but a feeling and emotion. You can change that vibration. You could definitely be better, feel better, do better. God gave us the tools to be, do, have. If you look at Genesis 1, he told us he's a creator. And he said he created us in the image of him. And then he basically told us to be, do, have after that. So you ain't got to be depressed. You could be happy. You ain't got to be in whatever space you in if you're not in agreement in it. You could change that. That's the beauty of, all that of being a child of the Most High. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I'm just saying that I know a lot of these content creators be out here uh, just really trying to keep people at a low vibrational state. You can raise that vibration, raise that consciousness. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a grifter like some of these guys. I was gonna say the name. I was gonna say that guy Ralph's name. Oops, did I say it? But nah, I'm not like them. I'm not like that person. And shout out to him, not like that. I'm not here to even bring people down like that. I'm not finna be talking mess about people like that. Unless you come for me, then again, you fuck with the wolf, you get in the fangs. But other than that, now I want everybody to have a great, productive day. It is Wednesday. And yeah, have a great, productive day. We out of here. Peace.